If you have a camera roll that looks like this, but you want it to look like this, well then listen up, because if you follow all the tips in this video, you will have the decluttered and organized camera roll of your dreams. No, seriously. What's up everyone, it's Adrienne Finch and welcome to episode 2 of my new decluttering series where we minimize clutter, maximize efficiency, and build lasting organizational habits that'll seriously change your life. Is it just me, or does cleaning your camera roll feel like one of the most daunting tasks? Last time I made this video was 4 years ago. I have 20,000 photos that I don't even know where to begin. I had 20,000 photos and thought that was a lot. I mean, it is a lot. But now I have like 55,000. Yeah, it's gross. If you missed episode 1, I will link it down below. We decluttered our phones and oh my gosh, it felt good. And today we're back with another digital declutter. We're talking how to declutter and organize your iPhone camera roll step by step, okay? And the best part is, by implementing this system now, we're setting our future self up for success. So you're welcome, future self. Also, Android users, I'm sorry, this is geared towards iPhone, but I'm sure a lot of the concepts are the same for you as well, so just watch it anyway. So let's just get right into it before we regret everything. All right, I'm gonna start right off the bat with by far the easiest solution. It's only one step, it doesn't involve apps or programs, but the caveat is that it'll take you a full year to clean out your entire camera roll. I'm gonna call this the daily clean out method. All you do for this is once a day, you go to your Photos app and search for today's date. So let's just say May 7th. Then basically everything that's ever been shot on this day throughout the years will show up here. So from there, you can manually go through and add favorites, delete duplicates or blurry or bad photos, and organize what's left into albums. And I'll show you guys some good methods for organizing later in the video. Then basically all you do is just repeat that every day. I know it sounds crazy, but just make it a part of your daily routine, and in a year, you'll have cleaned out your entire camera roll. I know. I honestly think this is a genius idea, but for any of my impatient girlies, me included, don't worry, I got you. All right, so the obvious first step in decluttering your camera roll is to delete photos and videos that you don't need. Now, if you don't have a huge camera roll, maybe you wanna just do this manually, so I'll show you how to do this yourself first, and then I'll show you my favorite app for bulk deleting blurry pictures, duplicates, and screenshots. Okay, so once you're in your camera roll, you can delete individual photos by clicking on them and then hitting the trash icon on the bottom right. Or to speed things up, from the camera roll page, press select and then click and drag to delete big groups of photos at a time. And pro tip, you can also use this trick to rearrange photos in any album except your camera roll. But that can help a lot with your organization. The next step in decluttering your camera roll is to find and delete duplicate photos. Duplicates, if you didn't know, are copies of the same photo but with different metadata, so usually from syncing errors like importing the same thing twice by accident, but also from you taking the same photo multiple times. We're all guilty of it. Click, 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 click. Yeah, we don't need all of those. You'd truly be surprised by how many duplicates are actually on your phone, so let's delete them. Now, if you have iOS 16 installed with an iPhone 8 or newer, the good news is the iPhone camera roll now auto scans for duplicates, so you don't have to. Thank goodness for this, honestly. So to find this, you just go to your Photos app, click on Albums, and then scroll down under Utilities and click on Duplicates. I just actually got a new phone because mine was stolen, so these are still scanning and indexing. I don't have anything showing up here, but I'll show you on my computer what it looks like just for the sake of this video. So here, all your duplicates will show up, and if you click on the Merge Two Items, your phone will keep one of the images and move the other one to the recently deleted folder. But for everyone else, if you want to go through your duplicates faster, choose Select in the top right corner to choose multiple photos at once, or hit select all even and just merge them all, baby. Next, when it comes to deleting, we want to look at the screenshots folder. We typically screenshot things that we don't need to keep for a long time, so it's definitely worth browsing this folder now and again. Just go to Photos and navigate to the screenshots folder. From here, you can manually delete old screenshots you don't need or sort ones you need into organized albums like receipts. Also, what's nice is when it comes to organizing, iOS lets you easily search for almost anything. So if I type receipt, for example, in the search bar, you'll notice a lot of receipts come up, which I can then manually sort into my receipts album. Again, my phone is still indexing all my photos, but you get the gist. Final thing when it comes to deleting, don't forget to go in and delete your recently deleted folder after doing any sort of camera roll cleaning. I love this feature because if you ever delete something by accident, it's not gone forever. Thank goodness. But it is taking up valuable storage space on your phone, so make sure to empty it every once in a while. Even if you delete the other photos, they're actually still sitting there. Another random life hack. Sometimes you might notice photos that show up in your camera roll that you didn't actually take. What the heck? Well, that's because there's a new setting that automatically displays photos that have been shared with you. Like via messages, for example, they go directly to your camera roll. But we don't like that because we want to keep our camera roll clean. You might want to go in and disable this feature if you notice this happening. To do so, go to Settings and then Messages, Shared with You, and then toggle off the Photos app. Voila. Now, chances are if you're watching this, you may have a big camera roll like me, and it's just not worth the time and effort to erase things manually all the time. I know that I needed a better automated solution, and I can confidently say that the Gemini app is my favorite for this. This is not sponsored, and I'm gonna be honest about this. This app does cost money, and I don't truly know if it's worth it. But it does offer a 3-day free trial, so you could use it for what you need and then cancel the subscription. So to start, download the app and allow it to access all of your photos. And for my privacy conscious friends out there, you may not want a third-party app able to access your photos, but you can also read up on what Apple has to say about it before proceeding. Do it at your own risk. So now that you've downloaded it, here comes the waiting. And if you have a big camera roll, you're gonna need to let it sit for a couple minutes so that it can scan your entire camera roll. So you'll notice all of the same albums we already discussed showing up here, plus a couple of others. I definitely recommend going to the duplicates folder first. You can basically click on them to double check again if you want that they're actually duplicates and not things that you don't want to erase. And then you can hit delete on the ones you want to delete. The app isn't 100% perfect, okay? So some of them like didn't delete the first time for whatever reason, but so close. Next, they have a similar folder, which groups similar photos together and actually chooses which one it thinks is the better photo. So if you like their selection, you can move the duplicate to the trash, or you can say keep all. I find that some of these aren't accurate, like these are very clearly not the same picture, but I think it often has to do with like using a third-party filter or app like that. It just kind of registers them all as the same. But if you just have basic photos, it might be a little bit better. But if this happens, then I can just push keep all. Or if you disagree with the photo that they chose, you can actually switch them by selecting or deselecting that check mark on the photo and go from there. The blurry photo shows a lot of graphics I've made that are not blurry, but they're just from other apps, and oh, hello, a picture of a mole on my back, lol. But there are some actual blurry photos as well that I can go ahead and delete. And finally, the other category. Not really sure how they chose what went in this folder, but I do really like that you can swipe up to keep them and swipe down to delete. It makes it a little more fun. So again, this app isn't perfect by any means, and for people who have to be more careful about the photos they're deleting, it may not really help much more than Apple's manual tools for deleting, especially because they did add a couple that make our lives easier when it comes to this. But I will say when it comes to the maintenance of your camera roll, you could set up Gemini to alert you when new photos are ready to be reviewed or deleted, which could also just help you stay on top of it. I also tend to use it most for decluttering old photos from like years ago, because those I'm less particular about and more willing to just kind of delete without reviewing every single one. So that's my hot take on Gemini. All right, now it's time to move on to some easy and effective ways to organize your camera roll. You guys, these tips will not only help you keep better track of all the photos and videos you have taken over the years, but you're creating a system that will help you actually maintain a clean and organized camera roll going forward without having to like stop and declutter so frequently, which I feel like is so important in anything like this. You'll notice that Apple has built-in ways of organizing your photos, mostly by date and year, but also by person and by pretty much any category that you can search. And that is all great, all right? But the camera roll itself is limited in function, and it can be a lot. So I can't stress enough how helpful utilizing iPhone's custom albums can be. So if you want to create a new album, just go to the Photos app, click on Albums, and then hit the plus in the upper right corner. Then give it a name. Because the iPhone organizes by date already, I personally recommend creating albums based on events like trips or weddings or birthdays, or by category like edited photos, social stats, etc., whatever is right for you. There are so many fun ways to make album titles stand out too, like using capital letters or emojis, but I do recommend keeping the style consistent for the type of album you're creating. I just find that this helps everything look cleaner and it's easier to spot whatever you're looking for once you have a ton of albums. So for me, anything that has a year or a date, for example, go at the beginning, or I put them at the beginning. Or like these edited photos from trips that I've been on are all kind of formatted the same way just to easily see them. And my recommendation is rearranging them so that the most used albums are at the top and the least used are at the bottom. But here's a major life hack, okay? If you're someone who already has a lot of albums and you need to clean them out or reorganize them, and you also happen to have an Apple laptop and your photos are synced to iCloud, go into the Photos app on your computer and you'll actually be able to see the albums in a really clean list, which helps you just see everything at once and quickly edit titles and rearrange the order. I find that it can be a little bit meticulous on the phone just because they're so big and you have to drag them all the way down, but this can be a lot faster. And if using albums is just too much for you, you can always just utilize the favorites folder. Any photo or video that you heart will show up there, so I tend to favorite anything that I love and want to post or edit, as well as things I don't want to have to search for later, like a picture of my license plate number, even though I should memorize that. All right, now that you've deleted and you've organized, and yes, that is a lot, I know. Now that first option I mentioned seems pretty appealing, doesn't it? But the last and final, and arguably the most important step, is the maintenance. So we're gonna put a system in place for regular decluttering so that you don't let it go again and it's just easier and more manageable to maintain. My best recommendation is to set a weekly or monthly reminder to go through the last month's photos and videos, delete duplicates, blurry photos, screenshots, and sort the stuff that you're keeping into albums. It'll make your life so much easier. I also recommend getting in the habit of adding certain things to albums as you go, like in the actual moment. For example, whenever I edit a photo or export a video, I immediately add it into photo edits or video edits folder just so that I don't get mixed up about which was a draft versus the final edit, because that happens to me a lot. So I'm in the habit of just kind of immediately sorting it. Now, the final thing I want to mention is just make sure to back up your photos. That goes without saying, but either get iCloud backup, Google Photos, Amazon Prime, anything that you can, because at the end of the day, these devices get lost, they get stolen. It happened to me last weekend, so just make sure your stuff's backed up or else none of this matters, does it? That's all for this video, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. To watch episode 1, click here, and for my decluttering and organization playlist, click here. Subscribe if you want, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.